Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'll get started in a couple more minutes, waiting for people to find the stream. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Backpacktrader training room for Thursday, February 4th, 2021. Give me a sound check real quick if you would. Looks like the Russell is on a strong up move there. And the YM is pulling back a bit. Not going very far very fast. 5-tick crude is flat and has not had any trades this morning. The 8-tick crude, if you get in sync, the entry was at 56.04, and that is part of our plan. And you would probably have gotten into this trade as a get in sync, and it just went down and touched, just got a tick past money management, didn't hit target 1, and came back and stopped out for 3 ticks. So that's a money management trade. If you didn't want to deal with that one, being as it was like a 3 a.m. setup, 3:03, I can certainly understand that. The only trade we've had on trade today was this short at 79.49, and that did not trigger and has canceled. So right now, looks like we took a 907.37 to, yeah, the unleaded unfortunately looks like it took a full stop out on the long. And is currently flat, waiting for its first trade. Thank you, folks. I'll remind everybody that this is one of the last days we'll be putting announcements into the Omnovia room. That will go away completely as of Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, I believe. Or actually, it may stick around a little while, but I know that NetPicks is also transitioning to Zoom or to one other service that Brian is looking at. So the Omnovia room will be going away very shortly, completely. So we're, for the moment at least, we're transitioned over to YouTube Live. And the markets will open in about 2.5 minutes. So we shall see. Not much going on. The YM has triggered into the short. Still a possible get in sync if you choose to do that. I would be a little bit leery right there around the 20 SMA. The YM just below session open. The Russell pushing through its session open and session highs. Crude just a bit below its session high. It looks like about 25, is it? Yeah, session high on crude is 56.25. Crude deciding what it's going to do around the $56 level, and we were doing this yesterday around 55, I think. But we broke through broke up through 56 yesterday evening, has been living there since then. Between about 55, looks like, yeah, we just got as low as we've been in a while, 55.88 up to 56.25. That coming around 2:45 this morning. So pretty tight range on crude today. Probably similar on unleaded. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, not pretty tight range. We just pushed down through the session lows. On unleaded. Pound Aussie looks like it's potentially setting up a new short. At least off of my charts, should come up around, looks like it's going to come up at 76.49 again, with a key level adjustment. Not much going right now. And there's a short on the on unleaded, 64.33. Now that probably would have been very difficult to catch. Just 8 seconds from the setup to the close of the next bar. So that one's very likely a no trade. But it's a get in sync at the moment. So even if you weren't able to get the order in initially, you'd have a sell stop in at 64.33. Or I'm sorry, a sell limit. Five-tick crude also getting a short. That's just a 2-second bar, so that's you're not in, certainly not in that yet. So that is a potential, and will remain so. And we did get the setup at, it's like 54. My setup is at 54, and there's a trigger just triggered in. go. And markets are open. Watching too many other things. The Russell picked up and that first trade is certainly going to be, it was 12 seconds, but I don't think, chances are you probably didn't catch that first trade, but now this short is very likely something you would be in. Yeah, that was hanging around the entry for about 30 seconds. So the Russell with a short, the YM with a long. Actually, first thing was a short, then a long that didn't get to money management, and we've got that's stop and reverse to long, and we've got a potential stop and reverse to short at 92. And a long on the 8-tick crude. That's a nice size trade, looks like. Five-tick crude short is still surviving, as is the unleaded short. You would have gotten in sync when it came back through the entry on unleaded. Five-tick crude actually is probably not short yet, but the trade is still valid since it did trigger unadjusted. Since it did trigger. And we did trigger into the, we're short, and trade today does have the same trade. Short on the pound Aussie from 54. Crude not triggering into its short. The YM did stop and reverse back to short from 92. So the YM is in the short. And the Russell is bouncing around like a ping pong ball. Picked up the short, stopped and reversed into the long at 67.3, and that's where we are now on the Russell. Is long from 67.3. Five-tick crude getting close to its money management, as is the unleaded trade. Long on the 8-tick did cancel, and so we're flat, looking for our first trade there, or first or second. We've actually got one. If you got in sync with that 3 a.m. short trade, you got a break even, so that's one money management trade. And the Russell with a stop and reverse to short. That look well. Let's see if that will go or not. 66.4, so it would be 66.2. Wait a minute. Yep, so it did stop and reverse to short. So the YM 930, we've got this short that stopped and reversed into the long. Looks like it did stop and reverse into the, yeah, it stopped and reversed into the short and now took a full stop out. So that's, and we're coming very close to a full stop on the Russell as well. Back and forth action, not moving far enough to get us anywhere. Looks like the 50 providing significant support, but in both the Russell and the YM. Five-tick crude failing to get through its session low at 77. Money management's at 76. And the Russell did stop out as well. So. Two stop and reverses and a full stop out on both the Russell and the YM. So a difficult start this morning. There will be days like this. That's just part of trading. And it looks like the YM didn't quite get close enough to the 50 to set up a yellow long. And the Russell got too far below the 20 to set up a long using the diamond level SMA trade. So the Russell and the YM are flat. The 8-tick crude is flat. We're short 5-tick crude, short unleaded, and short on the pound Aussie. We got as low as 39 on unleaded, and our money management is, wait a minute, I'm sorry, we got as low as 89 and our money management's 85. So 5 ticks away from money management before it bounced up. And set 55.77 still providing support on crude. Crude unable to break below 77. The lack of bars there on the 8-tick versus the 5, indicating that it's in a very, very, very tight little range right above the the session low at 77 for the last few minutes. Pound Aussie looks like it stopped out, or my stop was sitting at 78, and we got as high as 77.9. Okay, and it just pushed through. So that looks like a stop out on the Pound Aussie. So we are, and unleaded and the 5-tick crude both hitting money management. 5-tick crude stop is at 86 and target is at 55.68. Unleaded stop is going to come to 64.33. Entry was at 34. So there to 60.33 looks like, and it's gonna come down as soon as the bar closes. It's going to come down to 64.46. Oh no, I'm sorry. 64. There it is. 64.9. Say 64.21. No, 64.24. 23. All right. So unleaded at 64.23, pushing down toward its target at 63.49. That is an 85-tick target. So that will be a very nice trade. And actually, if you are choosing to take profit at target 1, 55 ticks, and that will be a POQ if you're doing that. Five-tick crude, stop it now at 83. I would be inclined to keep it at 86, possibly even push it up to 88, hide it above the 20 SMA. Stop plot moving down to 82 on unleaded, and I'm still, I would still keep it at 86 to 88. I want to see that push down a little bit more. That's just consolidate. It's pulling right into consolidation. See if we can get a target out of this. Now we have an SMA long on the Russell. Looks like 72.72 for the entry. I'm sorry, yeah, 72.2 for the entry. Money management at 75.0. That's a nice size trade. Also an SMA long on the YM. from 758. And the YM has hit money management now. That's a 35 tick target one. That's a potential take profit level if you're using target one, or target two is at, target one was 793, target two is 812. Looks like the Russell missed money management by one tick. Yep, got to 74.9. The YM did hit money management. 759 for the stop. The Russell at 72.3. And it did finally, it did touch its money management, so. And did we stop out? Nope. Yes, we did. We stopped out at 3. So one tick on the Russell. We did get a target 1 on the YM. Stop out and reverse to long, I would say at 86. The 20 had moved down far enough that that was a good place for it. So we got a one tick break even there with the adjustment. You'd have gotten like 3 ticks otherwise. And we did get triggered into the long at 86. Target and money management is at the session open at 96. Unleaded stop at 416, 64.16. The YM still surviving on its long trade. Stop still at 759. I believe it's still at 759. Yes. And the 5 tick crude stopping out for a full stop out on that second trade. $13 ticks, 26 for 2 positions. So you'd be down 24 if you made the adjustment. If you didn't make the adjustment, you would have had 8 ticks in hand and you'd be down 18. And there is a short potential on the 5 tick crude. At 69. Yeah, 55.69. The Russell is flat. The 8 tick crude is flat. Stop still at 64.16 on the unleaded. And still hasn't hit target 2 yet. And the pound Aussie is flat. Not much, and short on the Russell. The Russell is short from 71.6 at the time that's set up. Yeah, 70.8 is way too far to. I don't particularly like it, but I'm afraid to have to take it where it is, where it's set up and triggered in almost immediately. The Russell just a little bit out of sync. The YM stopped now at 769. So we have 11 ticks in hand. And there's the stop move up into the bar. 779. The low of the bar is 773. So I think I would keep it at 69. Try and let this get up to target. Or to target 2. You've got to target 1 if you're taking profit there of 35 ticks. So I think I would risk the 10 tick move there and keep it at 69. The Russell trade taking a lot of heat. Its stop looks like it's maybe a tick above. Yeah, it's 75.1, 75.2. It's 2 ticks above the high of the session high for the Russell. Hopefully that survives, but I would not expect it. It just set up a little too far off the 20 SMA to get around it, and it certainly provided support. You know, and there's the full stop out, the second full stop out on the Russell, or another full stop out on the Russell. Now, did we get... Yeah, we got just a little bit too far off of the 20. Dots were at 21.71. The 21 is 71.7. So, yep, 7 ticks. So, no blue trade there. Or the dark blue at 20 SMA trade. Unleaded, basically no movement. We have a new long setup. Short setup on crude the 5 tick crude canceled. We have a new long setup at 86. A lot of consolidation going on, or drifting type. Target 2 on the YM. So that is going to, well, that will help get us to positive. since we started off with the short, the full stop out, then we've got the long, and with a stop and reverse back to short, and the second full stop out, and we got the SMA trade to targets 1 and 2 and still trailing. Now stop would be moved up. Stop has moved up on the YM, making a strong move now. Stop at 804. This is the kind of market that these blue trades that trade off the SMA is really helpful, because the overbought, oversold OSOB trades are actually going to be set looking out for shorts only at this point, and it looks like a trending day to the upside, or at least marginally so. Not real strong move, but fairly steady, it looks like. It took a little dip at the session open and went back and forth a little bit. Now it's continuing on the pre-market trajectory. It's a real slow movement today. All right, unleaded stopped out. Didn't ever get to target 2. If you're using target 1, your POQ. If not, you're taking this long trade at 64.21. And that one, yeah, that one I would probably take 5 ticks and go to 26 to hide and keep it up above the 20 SMA. These trades are considerably larger tick values, and it's 50 ticks to target 1, so you're still only taking 10% of the trade to target 1. Target 2 is 78, so that's a nice, healthy trade. So we got up as high as 64.20, so we didn't trigger either. Let's see. Yeah, we have not triggered into even the unadjusted. As the 20 moves down, now let's see, where is the 20 on that bar? 20's down at 19. Yeah, I think it's safe. I think moving the entry down to 21 there is reasonable. They're keeping it above, a couple of ticks above the 20 SMA, but so down to the natural entry. Now that the SMA has worked its way through where the entry was. The 8-tick crude staying flat this morning, other than that one get in sync short. And that looks, from the way the 5-tick is going, there's a trade off the 200 EMA, that dark magenta. That's another diamond level trade on the 5-tick. That would be a stop and reverse if you take it. Otherwise, you would stay in the long from 86. with your money management at 96. That's it. That setup did change, although the entry didn't before it triggered. But it's a small enough trade. I just not big enough trade to adjust above the 50. Would have triggered you in anyway. Stop is at 70, 55.72. So it's a 14, and I would pull that down. I wouldn't want to put a whole lot more than that on it, but I might pull it down to 71 if you were staying in the trade. 74 would be the stop and reverse if you're going to use that one, and it has not triggered, so everybody is still long. The YM off to the races here, it looks like. Not terribly off to the races, but 843 is the stop. And we just survived by a tick. And the Russell taking a short for another full stop out, unfortunately. Russell just out of sync this morning. In that case, that's a case where you may want to wait, especially with it sitting just above the 20 SMA again. Wait for it to, see if it's going to come back up, and if it comes down the second time, take that trade. And that at this point would have kept you out. But wait for it to pull back, and it did stop out, so that would have been helpful. Looks like we did hit the entry on the 200 EMA short for those using the diamond level trades on the 5-tick crude. So if you're using those, you're short. If you're not using those, you're still long if you adjusted to 71 for your stop. We did hit the plotted stop at 72, but that was the session low. So I would definitely at least give it one tick around that. I'd like to give it at least two, but making a 3-tick adjustment on that size trade just is not. And it did stop out. So that those that are short in the 200 SMA trying to push down, actually money management, I said that was 74, so that would be 64. So there's your money management, and target 2 at 55.60. YM stop still at 846. No, I'm 846. That doesn't sound right. 843. Okay. Yeah. Oh, the 846 is where the balance line is. Yeah. So YM still at 843 for the stop. The 8-tick crude. No trades on the 9 o'clock session. The 10 o'clock session has a short at 69, just touched. So I would say come down to 68 with that. Unleaded still flat. One close below the balance line. Crude looking like it's wanting to head lower, maybe, possibly. YM moving up one tick to 844. Looks like it may very well move up to 49 or maybe even a little better. If we get... Now this is going to be a major key level anyway, even if it moves up, so it'll be at 49. And crude did trigger in at the 68. The 8-tick crude is short on the 10 o'clock session. Still not sure it's going to keep going short, but it did set a session low. Unleaded with an SMA short. Blue trade at 6363. And with the session open at 61, I would take that down 4 ticks to 59. I'm sorry, the session low rather at 61. I wouldn't get... And it just triggered in at taking it down to 57, so short on unleaded. The long did cancel. So if we can get to money management on unleaded, that will be a POQ. The 5-tick crude calculator has it stopping out for break even, but we have not hit, because of the stop and reverse adjustment, we have not hit money management yet. So we're still short. Needing one more tick. Session low at 65. And crude starting to move lower. So there is a target. There's target 2 on the 200 SMA trade. If you didn't use that trade, no, it didn't have a set of... Yeah, it looks like we may get a potential of a 20 SMA trade. Yeah, we got a 20 SMA trade there. But I would be still in the 200 SMA short, and we would be, our stop would be at, it's showing the the 200, the dark blue trade, but I believe, yeah, it just hit its money management, but our balance line's at 63, so 66 would be the stop at the moment on the magenta trade. And the YM finally stopping out. Stopped out at 49. Actually stopped and reversed to short at 53. I would be very hesitant. I would have left my stop at 49 and done the same thing here I was talking about on the Russell. Make it come down through a second time before I pick up the short, as we are definitely in a trend upward at the moment. And the 8-tick crude getting target 1. So that is a POQ trade, 1 tick away from target 2. So I would definitely move your stop up to target 1 or down to target 1. Don't risk it coming all the way back to break even. But that will be a POQ any way you slice it. And it did come back to target 1. Stop should be at, if you made the adjustment, the stop should be at 57. And if you made the, or 58 rather. If you made the adjustment around the session low. Yeah, it has 61 as the plotted stop, but I would have it at 58. On unleaded, that is. On the 8-tick, I'm sorry, unleaded is the one that, unleaded has hit its money management, so stop, yes, to 58. Target is down here. I was looking at the wrong chart, at 87. The 8-tick crude set up at 69, stop now at 66, and just hit target 2. So targets 1 and 2 POQ on the 10 o'clock session. 9 o'clock session just had the one tick break even if you got in sync with that early trade. So POQ on the 10 a.m. session. We did stop out on crude. Let's see, that is on the balance line, so our stop out would have been at 62. And actually, did we survive? I believe we survived that. Only got as high as 61. So actually still trailing. Show what that was. This is the 5 tick. So we didn't actually stop out because our money management was 64. So it came down, hit target 2. We're trailing this bar. Oops, I've got to get that on top. Take a look at that. So on this bar, the balance line is at 55.60, you'll notice from the data box on the left. So 62 would be our stop. This bar closed on the balance line, so the stop doesn't move. The balance line at 58 and the close of the bar at 58. So stop does not move, so it's still at 62. And we only got as high as 61. So we're still trailing, and we're now at stop of 51. The 8 tick did come through target 2. It's stopped now at 61 if anybody has a trailing position. Unleaded coming down through target 2. Stop now at 63.26. So this is the POQ trade for unleaded. See. And I suspect this trade will probably get us positive on the 5 tick as well. The stop's at 51. Looks like a new short. And that's right. We're after 10:20, so we'll pause until 11 o'clock on the pound Aussie. So no trade there. We could get in sync if that trade is still there at 11 o'clock. Unleaded stopped at 13 and just stopped out. 63.13. So unleaded is done. And the YM, if you took the short, was a full stop. That's another case in the trending market where if you make it come down the second time, you'll miss the V reversal. But I think that's worth it in the long run. In a trending market like we have today, seem to have today on the Russell and the YM. 5 tick crude stopped out of its trade. It stopped out at 51 and reversed to long if you are not positive. Money management at 61. And target at 68. Eight tick crude stop is sitting at 61. It hasn't moved on, didn't move on the last bar because it closed above the balance line. But it's still surviving. Stop at 61. And unleaded, not looking for anything new. Questions or comments? Oh, yeah, okay. What did they do with it today, Keith? I haven't looked at the news. I know there were several red label. I looked at the looked yesterday, and there were several red label releases this morning on the pound. And the Russell with another short. And sitting just up above the 20 again. I really would look for it to close up above the 20 and come down again before I chose to take that trade. That's a green trade, so strong. That comes from this green trend strength line getting to or above 0, and it looks like, yeah, it got just a fraction above 0, and it looks like that one would be the one to take. This time we have a short on the YM below the 20 SMA, and you have a little spike below that. That's probably too low to work around, but to 855, the setup is at 859. Yeah, no, I'd say 854, and triggering in on the adjustment. So the YM is short. The Russell has hit money management target 1 and target 2. See what it does around the 50 moving EMA. And 80.1 for the Russell stop. Okay. And crude still progressing downward. The 8-tick crude stop now at 51. 5-tick, if you weren't positive on the magenta trade, now stopping and reversing at 37 into the short. For 37 for the entry. Money management would actually be 27, and target is at 18. YM hitting money management. So if you were able to avoid this short, you're actually in much better shape with this one. Now have to see what the YM does with its 50 moving average. The Russell pushed through, hit its 50, hitting target 3. would have preferred to see a close above another close above the entry on the Russell, but it did bounce back up above the entry and come down. So it is a possible get in sync candidate if you stayed out of it the first time through. So 53 for the stop if you made the adjustment on the YM. The 8-tick crude stop now still trailing that 10 a.m. trade. Stop now at 47. So working where we will. Now the YM definitely hesitating as it approaches the 50. And the Russell stopped out and now has a long just below the 20 SMA. $79.6 for the long, and that's triggered in. The failure to get below or to significantly go through the 50 and keep going is, we may get another solid up move here. Especially if we can get a close or two above the 20 SMA. Here's a close and starting to move away. Move up fairly strongly on the Russell there. Not much movement right now. Crude seems to be starting to consolidate a little bit again. Now the YM taking another shot at its 50. The YM stop has moved down now to 856. And the YM pushing down through its 50 EMA. We'll see if we get a close below. The Russell still above its 20 SMA. We'll see if it continues up or comes back down. The SMA hasn't turned upward yet. If we can get it, okay, we got to close above the swing, so that's positive for our long trade. And another potential stop and reverse on the 5-tick crude. Hope you were already positive on that. This is going to be about last trade if you weren't. $48 for the entry, because 46 was our plotted entry. Adjusted to 48. So that's going to move our money management up a couple of ticks if it triggers in. But so far, still short. YM stop at 851. Missing target 2 by just a little bit there. Target 2 was 821, and we got as low as 822. Yeah, one tick. I would have taken the position off at target 1. Don't let that come all the way back, even for, because the stop still is just a small partial, especially sitting right above the 50 EMA like that. That's a prime candidate for a strong bounce, especially on the given the trend we've had this morning. So settle for the 25-tick target 1, and there is stop at 51. Stop at 51 was hit, so 8 ticks on the, so 33 ticks on the trade. That's going to be about all for the YM, I think. I'm going to say that trade was, hopefully that trade was avoided, so that, but I'll still count it as, even if you, as a virtual trade, so that would be 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. Yeah, we're definitely done. Where are we for the Russell? That was a no. 1, 2, 3. 4 was a break even. Five, 6. Yeah, so this is the last, that was the last trade for the Russell as well. We're beyond our 6 trades there, even if you avoided 1 or 2. So the Russell with a losing session, the YM probably with a losing session. 8 tick crude, hopefully with a POQ on this back from this trade that actually trailed all the way down to this entry right here at 51. Because then it got noisy again. That was a stop and reverse back to the long. So yeah, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Yeah, we're done. If you didn't get positive, you're definitely done. Probably one of these two. And the 8 tick crude finally stopped out at 47. That's a non-trade plan trade for the long there. Although that could be a get in sync at 11 o'clock. Basically, we're waiting till 11 o'clock. We're waiting till 11 o'clock for the pound Aussie, but that's the only thing still active. Everything else is either 6 trades or POQ. Any questions? Anything anybody wants to see? I can't see if anybody's typing, so let me know. Yes, we will. Miles will be, unless you see a post on the Owners Club to the contrary, we will be on YouTube Live going forward. Monday, the Omnovia room will be available, and I will post a note there. But yes, Troy will definitely be on YouTube Live on Monday, from what he said yesterday. But that will be our platform, at least for now, going forward. That obviously could change, but watch the... Yes. Please click that the like button. Helps the channel. And subscribe and click the notifications, the little bell icon, and you will be notified when we do go live. And Troy also mentioned that, you know, with the capability now of going live on YouTube, he may do some impromptu sessions. So that being notified when those happen is probably a good thing. Thank you, Mary Jean, for reminding me to tell everybody that. Yeah, Russell still getting messy. YM did stop out of that trade. So that is about all we've got this morning, unless there are questions or something somebody would like to see. I really don't know, Miles. I think it's just the colors that happen to be assigned. If you actually have a profile picture for YouTube, or actually for your Google account, and you sign in with that, then it will show that'll be your profile thumbnail. Rather than just an initial. As you can see, the channel profile pic is here in the... All right, I can't see my cursor. If you look at the... Oh, that's right. You won't see it on mine, because that's just where I am. See, the profile pic is of the channel for my posts rather than an initial. So if you're using a Google account and you're signed in and have a profile picture in your account, then that would show up rather than the initial. Similar to just almost exactly the same thing that Zoom does. All right. We got 4 different colors. So I wouldn't be surprised if one doesn't represent those that are subscribed to the channel, which obviously takes a Google account. All right. Well, that's about it, folks. An hour and a half in, and we're done except for the pound Aussie. And we only had one trade there. So with that, unless I see something in the chat here momentarily, I believe it's time to call it a morning. Everyone have a good weekend. We will be back here in YouTube Live Monday morning. Troy will be back. Normal schedule next week. Troy Monday and Wednesday. I'll be in Tuesday and Thursday. But we will be here on YouTube Live. Thank you, Miles. Everybody, you have a good weekend, and everybody else. Good trading tomorrow.